My name is Robin Rame, and I have been a member of this congregation for many, many years, and it is truly my spiritual home. I am grateful to be joining Reverend Kelley on the chancel this morning, and welcome to everyone, whether you are here in the sanctuary, joining us in Dobkin Hall, or watching on Zoom. We are so glad that you are joining us this morning. I'd like to invite everyone to turn and wave to our Zoomers. They're at the camera near the clock. Say hi, Zoomers! We're really glad you're here. Let's see, we have some space up front here if anybody's looking for a seat. As we gather this morning, whether this is your 50th year here or your first day, know that you are welcomed with love. And if you are feeling a bit too crowded in the sanctuary, we do have space to live stream in Dobkin Hall, just down the hall. If the space is also great if you simply need to stretch your legs or like to wiggle around a little bit. We are a congregation of all ages, which means we embrace all the noises and little disruptions our kids may bring into a Sunday morning. These are some of the sounds of a thriving congregation. This space is made sacred with our love. We hope that in this congregation and sacred space, wherever it may be, you will be strengthened by spiritual encouragement and comfort and support from those who join you in worship. Please take a moment to verify your cell phones are silenced so that we can be more intentionally present. All are invited to stop by the welcome table if you want to know more about Unitarian Universalism in general or this congregation in particular. You can learn more about us on our website, Instagram, and Facebook pages. But the most comprehensive place to know about what's going on is through our weekly digest. If you don't receive the digest and would like to, please fill out a green card in the vestibule. The digest is an exceptional place to learn about activities going on in our congregation. We do have a few verbal announcements this morning. During the month of November, we are collecting items for Mother Hubbard's Cupboard during Sunday services. Please bring your donations each week, and we will make time to collect them. This is non-perishables that they can use at Mother Hubbard's Cupboard. We'll do this before the kiddos leave for their activity so the whole family can participate. Our second announcement is that our next open house is this afternoon from 4 to 7 p.m. All are welcome at this potluck gathering. Flyers with details are available in the vestibule. The host for the open house is Dana Carpenter. Would you please stand up? Yay, Dana! So if you have any questions, Dana is here. A local organization called Wilmington Faith Leaders United will lead an interfaith service here this coming Thursday on November 14th at 7 p.m. Reverends Alyssa and Kelley are participating in the service and wanted to invite everyone to join. Childcare will be available. An offertory will be collected at the service, which will go to support recovery efforts in Western North Carolina after Hurricane Helene. Lastly, next Sunday is our first Soup Sunday of the season, and if there was ever a time we needed to gather and break bread, this is it. So look for more details in your weekly digest about that great activity.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Kelley Wheat Rivers. I have the honor and privilege of being the associate minister of this congregation. Months ago, Reverend Alyssa told me that this Sunday she would be out of the state speaking at a dear friend's ordination. And I thought, oh, it'll be fine. You go what you need to do. And then realized it was the Sunday after the election. But I want to say that I am so grateful for Reverend Alyssa living by example. It is so important for her to show up for the people that she loves and cares about. And she showed up not only for those of us this week, but she has sent us a special message because she cannot be here in person.
Hi, everyone. This is Reverend Alyssa. I'm currently in Portland, Oregon, because I previously committed to speaking at a dear friend's ordination today. I wish I could be there to give you all hugs, but I know we'll be together soon. Since Tuesday, the words from our UU hymn, Meditations on Breathing, has been going through my head. It says, when I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. I know many of us are not ready to breathe in peace or breathe out love at this moment. Or maybe we are ready to do that. Then the next minute, we're ready to rage. And then another still, we're ready to weep. Whatever you are feeling is good. And I hope you take time this weekend and in the next few weeks to simply feel whatever you need to feel and breathe. I think sometimes the best thing we can do, the healthiest thing we can do, is put one foot in front of the other and do the next right thing. Maybe that is planning for the fight ahead, but maybe it's putting on your comfy pajamas and eating ice cream, or going for a walk with your dog, cuddling with your cat, sitting on the beach with a book, or maybe it's having a dance party in your living room. Whenever the next right thing is, focus on that. We have time to focus on the future and what we're going to do. Right now, let's breathe in peace and focus on how we can love ourselves and love each other. And please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I will listen. I will make you a cup of tea. I will let you rage. Whatever you need. We're in this together, all of us. I'm sending you love today and always, and I'm grateful and honored to be a part of your community. I cannot imagine a place I would rather be at this time in our history than right here with all of you.
I'm so grateful for Reverend Alyssa, and I am so grateful for this space. As we step from the logistics of announcements to the soulfulness of our worship service, may we open our hearts and minds to what this time will bring to us. At the sounding of the chimes, let our spirits enter into a different space, a space of worship, of life, of love, of all that we hold sacred. May we take this time to grow our souls.
So this song, to me, is a very UU song, a song of hope. And we could use some of that. So I'd really like it if you join in with me. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. Isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one. Nice job.
Beautiful. It really is like a UU prayer. Will you all please read our chalice lighting up on the screens while Dan and Emma Wheat Rivers come up and light our chalice? While Kelley and Emma Wheat Rivers light our chalice. Take the long view. No, not exactly how, but that we will get through. Take the long view. Know what you feel now. Know also that outlooks and feelings change anew. They do. Take the long view. Look around and know that we are not alone. Give and receive. Help and be helped. Breathe in and out. Take the long view. No, not exactly how, but that we will get through. In that spirit, we light this chalice. Will you please rise in body or spirit for our first hymn, number 149, in our gray hymnal, Lift Every Voice and Sing. The words will also be projected on the screens.
Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. May sing
anyone has brought donations for Mother Hubbard's Cupboard, I'd like to invite you forward to bring them up to our basket in the front. If you would like some of our kiddos to gather your items and bring them up, please raise your hands and they will come to you.
So I know it's a fantastic move, and I also know that we are left with some upset. So it may be something you have to practice more often. And now we are going to be stepping into a ritual that we do every Sunday. And as we prepare for our Joys and Sorrows ritual, I wanted to share the passing of a former congregant, Barbara Wolk, on October 18th. She was a member of the congregation for a number of years. With her warm smile and sense of humor, she was one of our soup ladies until she moved out of state to be with her daughter about 7 years ago. May her memory be a blessing. And if you want to have something shared in front of the congregation, please send an email to joysandsorrows@uucwnc by the Saturday before the service, and we will also share them. But Robin has a joy.
I do. So in my Facebook memories this morning, it came up that today is the anniversary that 5 years ago my daughter Tilly was dedicated in this congregation. And that feels really, really special. So that is my joy for this week. Now is the time in our service when we ritualize the joys and sorrows in our lives. We invite anyone who may want to come forward to either light a candle or place a river stone or shell in the fountain. As our friends come forward, may we join together in singing hymn 123, Spirit of Life.
I'm going to light one more candle for all those joys and sorrows that are just too much to share right now. Let us pause for just a moment to acknowledge each joy and sorrow represented by the candles and represented by the stones and shells. May each one be held with tenderness. Amen. I'd like to invite Robin up. We are going to do a litany of connection. Robin and I will alternate reading some statements, after each of which you are all invited to respond with the words, "We are not alone." I hope you feel them in your souls.
No matter how afraid you are,
We are not alone. No matter how damaged you are, we are not alone.
even with your fears and worries,
We are not alone. As you go into this uncertain world, back to your uncertain homes, we are not alone.
as you try to pick up your life again,
We are not alone. Go back into this world that isn't fixed, isn't ready, isn't what we were promised. Go back into this world knowing that you can carry with you a deep and holy truth. We are not alone. I'd like to invite forward a special guest for our service today, Reverend Lisa Garcia Sampson. She is our Executive Director of UU Justice NC.
Thank you, Reverend Kelley. Thank you for holding this space today with such incredible intention and care. You are a gift to this congregation. You are a gift to our faith. Thank you. Good morning. It is so good. It is such a balm for my spirit to be here today. Even when I wasn't asked, I asked if I could come. That's how badly I wanted to be. How badly I wanted to be in this congregation this morning. I'm here today, one, to join in observing the 126th anniversary of the Wilmington coup and massacre. And two, I am here because I love you all so much. And I want you to know that what you have done this year is absolutely breathtaking. It is powerful, and I don't want anyone to ever take that power or that pride of what you have accomplished this year away from you, even after Tuesday. In this moment, I know we are holding incredible grief and fear and maybe even despair, but beloveds, have faith that hope and strength will come again. We will find it in each other and for each other, and beloveds, we will also find it in our history. Today, we not only remember the tragedy of 1898, but honor the progress which preceded that tragedy. Following Reconstruction, fusion politics and the growth of commerce in the port city created a reality where both Black and white residents of Wilmington were thriving economically and socially and culturally. Let us not forget the multiracial Board of Aldermen before 1898. Let us not forget the multiracial representation in our state's General Assembly before 1898. Let us not forget that. Before the propaganda and the fear and the skillful organizing which violently halted the boundless trajectory of this city, a profound example of collective thriving and a truly multiracial democracy was being realized right here in this place. And we are called to remember and honor that legacy as much as we remember what happened next. And more than that, may we draw strength from the ancestors of Wilmington whose courage and strength and power through unimaginable tragedy has kept hope alive in the port city. has kept the vision of liberation in our minds and our hearts and in the very ground that we stand on. May we honor that legacy in how we respond to this new moment of unimaginable challenge. Over the last 5 days, like many of you, I have tried to process where we are and where we go from here. And I kept coming back to a moment that I had on Election Day. I was here in Wilmington on Tuesday. Some of you saw me making signs very quickly and messily in one of the classrooms. After a long, busy day at the polls, I pulled into my Airbnb right on the beach, just as the sun was beginning to set over the water, and as soon as I got into the house, I threw on some shorts and some flip-flops, and within a couple minutes, my feet were in the water. And my feet sunk. Let me know if you know what this feels like, the feeling of bare feet sinking into the sand. And for about 20 minutes, I just stood there taking it all in and reflecting on the day, and not just the day, but this entire year. For me, the early spring meetings with our partners, coming here to witness the ninja unveiling of your thermometer in May, the 40,000 postcards we wrote, the voter registration trainings and drives, the 60,000 phone calls, the 5,000 doors we knocked on, the rapid response safety network, which stretched from the mountains to the coast for 17 days of early voting and on Election Day, combating harassment and threats by extremist groups. I thought of all of that. And in that moment, sinking into the water, I knew that we had all left everything on the field, that we had done everything we could, especially this congregation. And y'all, you know that I am well positioned, that I know. This congregation, you gave it everything you had, and I felt all of that, and I felt a peace in that truth. And I felt so deeply, deeply proud of the way that we have contributed to our state's movement for democracy this year. It is a moment that I will never forget, and no election night will ever rob me of that pride. The truth about who we are and who we belong to, and the liberatory work of our movement, that has not changed. Yes, after Tuesday, the threats that we face have grown. The conditions have changed, but the measure of our movement was never the result of one election. It is measured in the deepening of partnerships and trust and organizing and skills that cannot be taken away from us, and it is those things that has prepared us for whatever happens next. We will continue our work to keep us safe and to bring joy to this world and affirm our bodily autonomy and protect our trans children and respond to natural disasters and embody radical care and radical resistance, because that is who we are. The story of our movement, at the heart of it, is not what we are fighting against, beloveds. It is what we are fighting for. And right now is a test of that faith. Right now, the story of who we are must be stronger than the fear we are holding. It must be stronger than the threats we face. This moment is a test of our faith and how deeply we hold that loving story. So, beloveds, hold that story close. May we anchor ourselves in a deep and abiding faith in us. Despite all evidence to the contrary, we are called to believe that we have everything we need in this moment. to continue to build that beloved community, to continue to realize the promise of those in Wilmington in 1897. This is our faith. This year we have reached for the highest aspirations of our faith. We have interrogated the limits of our imagination for what is possible. And now we will rest and we will cry and we will grieve and again and again and again until our spirits tell us that we are ready to begin again. We know who we are. We know who we belong to. We know this liberatory story that we are not passive spectators of, but that we are active creators of. Hold that story in your heart, and may that loving story nourish you. May it be the beacon in the night sky that guides you. Beloveds, I promise you, we are more powerful than we can even imagine. And together, we will find our way forward. Amen.
Thank you so much for being here today and for speaking for us. That was very powerful. Each week through our Share the Plate program, we give half of our offering to a worthy organization vetted by our Share the Plate team. Thanks to your generosity, we donated $906.50 to the North Carolina Disaster Relief Fund. I'd like to invite Bev Cochran to come forward to introduce our Share the Plate recipient for today.
I just knew it was going to be my turn. How do I follow you? Really? That's not fair. Thank you all for supporting Mother Hubbard's Cupboard. They are, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to repeat some of the stuff I said last week. We are a food pantry. We give out groceries. We do not make meals. We give out groceries to people in need. We don't care who you are, what you are, where you come from. You don't have to prove to us that you need the food. People don't come unless they need the food. It's a dignity thing. They just, you're not going to come unless you need the food. So we serve people in New Hanover, Pender, Brunswick County mainly. We have people that come from Columbus County, Bladen County, Duplin County, because they know that we have one of the best food pantries in the area. We buy milk out of the money that we get, donations. We buy milk and eggs and cereal every week so that everybody gets half a dozen eggs, half a gallon of milk, and a box of cereal every time they come. You can come 3 times a month. There are people in this congregation who may not be as, knock on wood, as privileged as I am, not worried about where my next meal is going to come from. Ending from January 1 through the end of October, we served over 16,000 households. That's over 57,000 people. 30% of which are children, startling fact. 24% of which are seniors, And just this past month, in October, we had over 300 new families that had never been there before. So please, thank you for your contributions. This and your donations today, we truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Will the ushers please come forward to collect this morning's offering?
Now, if you would please rise in body and or spirit to sing hymn number 159 in the gray hymnal, "This Is My Song." The words are also on your screen.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and wide.
Today's reading is titled, If You Can Still Cry, by John Rodell. If you can still cry, it means you can still breathe. And if you can still breathe, it means you are still alive. And if you are still alive, it means you still have some work to do. Go ahead and cry for a bit. Each tear is proof of your survival. Each jagged breath you take is evidence of your courage. You may be wounded. You may be discounted, but you are still here. And some days simply still being here, despite what the world has done to you, is a miracle. You are a miracle. You are a miracle. You are a miracle. My love, you are a miracle. Don't hide your streaking tears. They are your badges of salty valor that tell the story how you kept going despite the raging storm. We need you. So go ahead and cry, breathe, survive, then get back to work. Be the miracle.
What a week. What a week. I'd like to take a moment to do what Reverend Alyssa referenced in her message to us. Let's breathe in some peace and breathe out some love. Ready? On Tuesday evening and in the wee hours of Wednesday morning, I alternated between trying to distract myself and refreshing election results. I texted and messaged friends, and we tried to keep each other from having our worry turn into panic. As the numbers solidified, I became so aware that I was leading the service the Sunday after the election. Months ago, Reverend Alyssa had told me she would be speaking at a friend's ordination, and I know how important it is for her to show up for the people in her world. And I am so grateful we are also on that list of people she cares about, because she gathered us together, many of us on Wednesday. There were 40 to 50 of us who gathered on Wednesday evening to share our raw, unfiltered reactions. I feel like that time, followed by our choir rehearsal, which I sounded like this then, and I was like, I'm still going. That time of gathering helped me begin to process things. As I was preparing for today's service, I fretted over what I would say to you all. How was I going to address the upcoming political regime change? But the more I processed, the more I became aware of something. Yes, the events and emotions of this week stemmed from a political event, but the reasons and response were emotional. And at that point, I had a much better idea about today's sermon. Because if there is anything that 15 years in hospice chaplaincy has taught me, it's the signs of grief. Billy. Hospice has taught me what the signs of grief are. Here's a bit of the emotional roller coaster that I felt during the week. Maybe some of y'all can relate. For most of Wednesday, I was numb. I felt like an overly saturated sponge that just couldn't take in anymore. Throughout the day, I would occasionally have a grief burst, a moment with the intense reality hitting me, and I just sobbed. And then numbness took over again, as a shield of protection when my heart couldn't take the waves of sadness again. Some of my friends shared that they were feeling anger and rage, and I found myself a little jealous because I just did not have the energy yet for that. I noticed within myself something that occurs when I go through a major depressive episode. I want to isolate myself. I want to turn inward, and I want to turn away from everything and everyone. I don't want to interact with people. I don't want to try and navigate conversations and social interactions. But that's my default. But I also know it is not the healthy choice for me. Because I know that even if that's what I want to do, I need to reach out to others. So I did in the small ways I was able. And from those moments, I felt a surge of connection. Even though my friends were feeling similar or adjacent feelings: heartbreak, disgust, disbelief, rage, disappointment, fear. The point is, I was not alone. We are not alone. One dear friend kept doing mental health check-ins this week with me, just a little text, mental health check-in, ? She wanted to see if I was all right. And during one of our conversations, I told her about the people here. I told her about this faith community, and I was commiserating and connecting with them, and she replied, "I'm so glad you have that." And I have replayed that sentiment all week. And my deep gratitude for this faith community and for all the people here and all the people who wish they could be here today, it feels like a life raft in the middle of a raging sea. We are here together. Prentice Hemphill, who is an author, a therapist, a political organizer, she is the founder and director of the Embodiment Institute and the Black Embodiment Initiative. She writes this: "Feeling is revolutionary. It is a disruption of the status quo. Though it feels personal and happens to our bodies, it doesn't need to be a solitary action. Feeling and connection bring us into the world and into relationship with one another. Some things feel too big to be felt alone because they are." I'm going to read that again. Some things feel too big to be felt alone because they are. They require the collective to hold space. It is not practical to imagine that we can feel the weight of historical trauma as one person. This is why we meet in the streets. As much as mass protests are direct action and are about putting strategic pressure on opposition, they are often a gathering space for grief and pain because they are too big to be felt alone. Protests don't often get reported in that way, as an eruption of collective grief. On the news, they are riots, and we begin the cycle of minimizing the feelings that bring people to the streets, and ultimately we miss the message. We need spaces, and others too, where our grief can swell, where feeling for feeling's sake can reconstitute us, where our empathy for one another can build. A community, a society, becomes one and remains one, I think, through shared feeling. I want to share a grief image that has been very helpful to me over the years. It's called the ball in the box metaphor. Yeah, there it is. As you can see, there's a large ball in the box. On the side is a pain button. In the beginning stages of grief, the ball is very big. You can't move the box without frequently hitting the pain button. It rattles around and hits the button over and over again, sometimes so much that it feels like you can't stop it. You can't control it. It just keeps hurting. As time goes on, and hopefully we heal some, the ball gets smaller. It doesn't disappear completely, and when we hit the pain button, it can still feel just as intense. But when the ball is smaller, we can move around, and we can get things done, and we don't hit the pain button quite as often. I appreciate this metaphor, one, because I'm a visual learner. And two, it can give me shorthand to share how I'm feeling if I don't feel like expressing much. Someone asks me, "How are you today?" If they know this metaphor, I can say, the ball really felt big today. Hopefully, with intention and effort, as we begin to heal, we will be able to move through the day with the ball feeling smaller. On Friday, I had an all-day meeting with statewide members of the Liberty Hospice psychosocial teams. So gratefully, we met at Shell Island at Wrightsville Beach, and there was an item of self-care carved into the agenda. So during that break, I took a walk on the beach. It was the most I had been outside all week. And I think, as many of us tend to do, I spent part of the time looking for shells on the ground. Usually, if I find something that is particularly beautiful to me, I'll bring it home. But I noticed that what I was drawn to on Friday was very different than the type of shells that I'm typically drawn to. The same type of shell kept catching my eye, and I have a picture of one of them. There he is. I was like, where'd she go? So take a moment and look at the shell with me. The edges are rough. The surface is peppered with holes and divots. There are even pieces of other shells that have come into contact with it that have attached themselves and become a part of this whole. This shell has been through it. It's been tossed around and chipped. The scars of its life impacts are evident, just like what happens with all of us. We are the products of everything we go through. And I found this shell beautiful. The way it hit the light was beautiful. The way I'm able to hold on to it because of its unique and formed texture is beautiful. I hope we can all hold on to one another because of what we've been through. Who are we as individuals? Who are we as a community? I'll tell you one thing I know. Who we are is not radically different than who we are on November 4th. We are still fundamentally the same. We are still connected through our values of love and acceptance and justice. And I hope that we can take the long view and be a beacon for those who need it. So let us join together, as Bell Hooks wrote, because rarely, if ever, are any of us healed in isolation. Healing is an act of communion. So let us feel our grief, however it presents itself, and may you, may we, may all of us always have a life raft in this community to hold us up. Amen, and blessed be. Thank you all. Our final hymn of the morning is number 134 in our gray hymnal, Our World is One World. I invite you to rise and sing together.
Our world is one world. What touches one affects us all. The seas that wash us round about, the clouds
As I was preparing for today's service, I embraced my inner RBG, descent color, pearls. And I asked a couple of congregants before the service which of my stoles would be right, and this is the somber choice. It's a heavy week, it's a somber choice, but Reverend Lisa said something that I really appreciate. Reverend Lisa reminds us that joy is a radical act of rebellion. So, for the remainder, short though it may be, I'm embracing the joy. The color, it's not extinguished. Our benediction comes from words of Laura Jean Truman. She writes, "Keep my anger from becoming meanness. Keep my sorrow from collapsing into self-pity. Keep my heart soft enough to keep breaking. Keep my anger turned towards justice, not cruelty. Remind me that all of this, every bit of this, is for love. Keep me fiercely kind."
Please join me in the words of extinguishing the chalice up on our screens. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
In just a moment, we are going to participate in a long-standing tradition of this congregation to join together and sing a song of peace, of shalom. Before that, I have a benediction. Let us cry, rage, scream, feel all the things. And then let us remember who we are at our core, and let's get to work. Please rise and connect across the aisles. I'm going to ask what Reverend Alyssa asks for me to be able to scooch through, and let's sing together our shalom.